Hi guys, it's Ankita. Welcome to another video. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I talk about books here, review them, recommend them. So if that's something that you're looking for, please consider subscribing to my channel. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. In this video, I am going to talk about The Shining by Stephen King. I read this book as part of my winter readathon where I had two prompts. Chills and Thrills was the first prompt. As the name suggests, it was like to read something that would give you a scare, and the second was Giggles and Guffaws. Just read a silly book that would just make you laugh. I went with the first prompt and I decided to read a Stephen King novel because I have heard about Stephen King all my life. So I decided to read one of his classics and one of his earlier works, The Shining. Imagine you are in a remote location, totally cut off from the outside world, and the person you are with is really struggling, has a darkness within them, and the place itself is haunted. What would you do? How do you feel? Oh, the horror. And that is what The Shining makes you feel like, because in this one we follow Jack, who has lost his job because of his anger management issues he has and is still struggling with, but he feels it is much more under control. He is very self-aware of how he loses control over his emotions and actions as well. When he loses his job as a teacher, he really does not have a lot of options open to him. So he takes up a job as a caretaker of a hotel. And this hotel is based in a remote location in Colorado. The hotel is mostly busy during the summers, but after the summers, as the weather starts changing, it starts getting colder and it starts snowing. The location is completely cut off from the nearby towns and cities, and Jack basically takes up a job of looking after the hotel. When all of the staff has left, everyone has left, so it's just him, his wife, and his son Danny that move into this hotel when everyone has left for the winters. And his job is basically to make sure the plumbing is running, the heating is running, so that everything is quite functional once the hotel is back in business next year. So here we have Jack, who is a totally volatile. He's a very volatile person, and he has this son named Danny. Now Danny has some special skills, or let's say abilities, which I don't want to go too much into because I think you should find out for yourself what it is and what it is called, and how it plays out in the plot of the story. It's pretty interesting. I was totally hooked onto the story right from the start when I started reading this, and this was my first ever Stephen King novel. Horror novel. I've read another one by him, The Eyes of the Dragon, and that one is, I would say, fantasy fiction rather than horror. I really enjoyed that one. I think I gave it 5 stars on my Goodreads. Also, although I don't recall a lot about it, I do recall liking the plot of the story. Anyway, but I really like that one. So this one, I was totally intrigued when I started reading it. Couldn't put it down. I love the characters that were built up. This really disturbing character of Jack, and then there's Danny, who has this special ability, and then you have the wife who is always on the edge because she doesn't know what to expect from her husband. And on top of that, the hotel itself has some strange things going on, and you just don't know what to make of this. Now I'll be really honest, I was a little underwhelmed by the ending, and I ended up giving this book 3 stars. Now here's the reason why. I love the character, this dark character of Jack. It really gave me nightmares. This book gave me nightmares. I loved what Danny could do and how he is affected by the environment around him, by the relationship of his parents, and he's a very sensitive kid. I really liked him. Now here's the thing, I was surprised by the prose in the book. It was just mediocre. And I think that's where I started losing interest in the book or in the story itself, because yeah, the characters were introduced and they were really strong, everything was going great, but then when things start happening, all of that description was just mediocre. It didn't do anything for me. In fact, it did bother me how Stephen King sexualizes all women in this book. I just found it very distasteful, and there are other descriptions as well which I found really unnecessary. Look, if the author wants to sexualize the characters in his book, it's his story, it's his book, it's his characters, he can do that, right? However, if you're gonna sexualize women, you gotta sexualize all of the characters as well, not children. Please don't sexualize children. But some of the descriptions were really cringy. Having said that, also I think in general, maybe haunted mansion, haunted houses, haunted setting is something that is not for me. I don't know, I'm always underwhelmed by stories set in haunted places. So maybe this genre is not for me. Having said that, I went through a lot of reviews on Goodreads and people have rated this book 5 stars. So I rated this 3 star, and that is my experience of reading this book. It was definitely an average book for me. But yeah, like I said, a lot of people love this book. They've read it multiple times. They have rated it 5 star, and they are like die-hard fans of this book. If a haunted setting intrigues you, on top of that, some really dark characters, this might be the book for you if you are willing to overlook the mediocre writing, mediocre prose, and just some really unfair descriptions of women. And like I said, it's the first Stephen King horror that I've read. If you have read any other Stephen King book and you loved it, please let me know in the comments down below, because I'm going to give another Stephen King horror a try. Not anytime soon, but sometime in the future. And I'm looking for great recommendations. So if you have a video on your channel, please let me know. And if you have a favorite Stephen King novel, even if it's not a horror, do let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. And I'll see you next time. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.